Yarrney.
Hello, welcome back to Yarrney. In this tutorial, you will learn how to make the Trinity stitch. I've made a little patch here to show you what the Trinity stitch look like. It's a pretty beautiful stitch and it's actually very easy to do. For those of you who have ever tried the star stitch, so the purple here, this is a star stitch patch. It's pretty similar to the star stitch, but it's actually way easier than the star stitch, and they actually look quite similar. There are differences, of course, but if you have a hard time doing the star stitch, then the Trinity stitch is pretty good replacement. All right, let's get started. So to start this Trinity stitch, we will do a slip knot and chain as our foundation, and the number of chains you would want to do is basically just make sure it's an even number. So depending on the size of your project that you would like to do, just chain enough chains for the length of your project, but at the same time make sure it's an even number. For this tutorial, I will simply chain 8. I don't want to chain too much, so that this video doesn't last for ages, just enough to show you how to do the Trinity stitch. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so what you want to do as a start is to do 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Remember that the loop on the hook never count as a chain, so you have your first chain here, the first V formation, then the second V formation here, which is the second chain from the hook. We insert our hook to do a single crochet. Now in this same chain right here, this bigger space here that we did the single crochet, we will insert our hook to pull the yarn back through. So we have 2 loops on our hook, and then we insert our hook in the next chain to pull the yarn back. We have 3 loops on the hook. Then we insert our hook in the following chain, pull the yarn back, and we have 4 chains here on our hook. So we will wrap the yarn, so not chains but 4 loops. So pull the loop here, pull the yarn through all 4 loops like this, and then you chain 1, and then this is basically your first Trinity stitch. The magic number with the Trinity stitch is always the 4 loops. You always basically make your stitch with 4 loops on the hook. So now to do the next Trinity stitch, we will basically do the same thing where we insert our hook in the very base here of this bigger space here. This bigger space here is basically the last chain that your hook went into before you pull the yarn through all 4 loops. So you insert it at the base here, pull the yarn through, then insert your hook in the next chain, pull the yarn through, then insert your hook in the next chain here, pull the yarn through. So you see we have 4 loops on the hook, and this last chain here where you did this loop here, this is the base of your stitch where you will work your next Trinity stitch. So now you wrap the yarn, pull the yarn through all 4 loops, and then do a chain. You have your second Trinity stitch. Now see this bigger space here? This is, like I said, the last chain, because this Trinity stitch is always worked in with this last chain here before you pulled the yarn through all 4 loops, in addition to the next 2 chains or the next 2 stitches. So you insert your hook here, pull the yarn through, then insert your hook in the next chain, pull the yarn through, insert your hook in the next chain, which is the last chain for my little tutorial foundation chain here. Then you have 4 loops on your hook, pull the yarn through all 4 loops. Now, when you arrive at the last stitch here, you do not do a chain. What you're going to do is a single crochet in the exact same stitch here that you just did the Trinity stitch. And then what you're going to do is chain 1, and then you turn your project, because we always want to work from the right side to the left. And then you will basically repeat this next row on and on, just adding the same row on and on until you reach the desired length of your project. So remember that the first stitch and the last stitch will always be a single crochet. So in the first stitch here, you will insert a single crochet. And now is when you start building your Trinity stitch. So in the same space you just did your single crochet, you insert your hook again, pull the yarn back like this. Now looking at your project from the top here, you see all these V formations. These are each of the stitch. So essentially you insert your hook in the next, under the next stitch, and then you pull the yarn back. You have 3 loops on your hook, and you insert your hook again in your next stitch, and then you pull the yarn back and you have 4 loops on your hook. Now you wrap the yarn around your hook, pull it through all 4 loops. So like I mentioned, the Trinity stitch 4 is the magic number, and then you chain 1 here. Then you are basically onto your next Trinity stitch. And then the Trinity stitch, you always start at your current Trinity stitch, the base. So in the current stitch here, insert your hook, pull the yarn back, and the next 2 stitches, pull the yarn back like this, and then insert your hook in the following, and then pull the yarn back. So with 4 loops on your hook, pull the yarn through all 4 loops, and then chain, and then you insert your hook at the very base of your Trinity stitch here, pull the yarn back, and then you insert your hook in the next 2 stitch. So pull the yarn back, and then the last stitch here, insert your hook under it to pull the yarn back. Have 4 loops on your hook, pull the yarn through all 4 loops. And then since this is my last stitch, I will not do a chain. What you're going to do, remember, always a single crochet in this exact same stitch here at the base. And then, like I mentioned, what you're going to do is always chain 1 in between each row. You turn your project and you continue adding on the stitches. And remember, the first stitch of the row, always a single crochet. And the last stitch of the row, always a single crochet as well. And then you just start building your Trinity stitch, starting from the very base of the single crochet, and then the next 2 stitches, pulling the yarn, always to have 4 loops on your hook, to pull the yarn back through the 4 loops, and you do a chain, and then you just keep going until you have enough rows to build your project. So this Trinity stitch is very, very easy. And for those of you who have tried the star stitch, you know that the star stitch, the magic number, is always 6 loops on the hook. So because the Trinity stitch is 4 loops on the hook, it makes it way more easier to work your hook through the yarn and make sure your hook doesn't split the yarn as well if you're using acrylic yarn, for example. So very nice stitch. And like I said, once you're done with a bigger patch, this is what the Trinity stitch will look like. It's very neat, very pretty. And all right, so I will let you go try this Trinity stitch. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to hit the like button. It will help me a lot, and also to subscribe. And I'll see you on another tutorial. Thank you so much for watching.